The report is finished periodic activity is typically run when you want to report multiple BOMs as finished. Note that when you use the report as finished from the periodic section, you can report multiple products as finished simultaneously. Let's switch over to AX and I'll show you all the different techniques for reporting a BOM as finished. We'll start by going to Inventory Management and then opening the periodic area, Bill of Materials, and then Report as Finished. Here, you'll notice that there are no records. You can manually create a new record by clicking the new icon and then entering the details of which item number you want to report as finished, the site, warehouse, and location if required. In the quantity field, you'll select the quantity of items that you want to report as finished. You can optionally select the explosion mode in the explosion column. Here you can choose never, always, or shortage. For this example, we're going to clear the Post Now checkbox. Next, we're going to click the Items Report as Finished button up at the top of the form, which is found underneath Inventory. And this particular item requires a configuration, so I'll need to go to the Inventory Dimensions tab and select the configuration. I'll choose Standard for this example. Next, I'll use the Inventory button to optionally add that configuration field to the Overview grid. If required, you can add the other inventory dimensions as well. If you use the Default Values button, AX will pull the default values in. Next, I'm going to show you how we can use the Select button. When you use the Select button, you can filter for a range of items. You can use any fields that are available on the item group, or item model groups tables. So if I wanted to report as finished several different items, I would select the items by listing them out with commas, and then click OK. I'm going to cancel this, and I'm going to update my explosion mode to always. When you click OK, the system will attempt to report as finished the item with the quantities that you've specified. If inventory is not available for the components depending on the explosion mode, an error message may be received. To view the BOM journal that was created for this, you can open the Inventory Management, Journals, Item Transaction, and then Bill of Materials. Here you can see the BOM journal that was just created. If you open up the lines, you'll be able to see the details. Here you can see the header item, 1400, and you'll notice that the BOM line checkbox is not selected. You'll also notice the quantities and each of the components that are required to make this up. If required, you can update the information here for each of the component lines. When you're ready, you can validate the journal, and if no errors are received, you'll be able to post it. You'll notice my journal is okay, so we'll go ahead and post it. Had I marked the Post Now checkbox in the Report as Finished form, this journal would have been created and posted automatically, and the user would not have an opportunity to review or update the details. Next, I'll show you how we can do this from the Released Products form. So I'll switch over to Product Information Management and then open the Released Products form. Here, I'll select the item that I want to report as finished. I'll choose the same item that we were just working with, the speaker set. Next, we'll go over to the Engineer tab, and you'll notice two different buttons. First, I'll show you the Max Report as Finished button. This is a view-only version of the screen that allows you to see what the availability is. For this particular scenario, I would need to update the parameters to select the correct site and warehouse, And in this case, I would also need to specify a configuration. So I'll use the Inventory Dimension Display button and turn on the configuration dimension, and then click OK. Now I can select the configuration that I want to view. You'll notice that the lower hand portion of the form is updated with the information. You can see that there are already 5 of the finished good on hand. The on-hand quantities available for the components required to make this are actually negative for item D003, and 35 are available for M0007. So you'll notice the maximum I could report as finished is 35. This would use all of this particular item. However, I cannot report any as finished because item D003 is not available. Let's take a look at the other configuration for high-end. You'll notice here, again, that 5 are on hand. However, there are none available for the components. If I wanted to report these as finished, I would need to add some on-hand inventory. If your system is configured to allow negative on-hand inventory, you would be able to use the Report as Finished button in the Process group of the action pane to go ahead and report the item as finished. This opens up the same screen that you just saw. For this example, I'll go ahead and post and select the same inventory dimensions that we did in our last example. Back on the Overview tab, I'll select that the explosion mode is always, and I'll mark the Post Now checkbox. I'll update the quantity to 5 and then click OK. With this particular example, AX is automatically going to create a bill of material journal. In this case, it's journal number 00103, and you can see that it has automatically been posted. I can close this window down and go back to Inventory Management and open this journal. So we'll go back into the Journals area and open up Bill of Materials. Because it's posted, it does not show up in the list by default, so I'll need to switch the view to Posted, and then I can select the journal number 103. If you click the Lines button, you can view the details. So here you can see the information was updated. The last option is to use this journal manually to report an item as finished. So I'll go ahead and manually create a new journal by clicking the New button. You'll want to make sure that you're in the Open view first, and then click New. Then you can select the journal name and open up the lines. Here you have 2 options. You can manually add the lines and the components that you want to report as finished. Typically, you'll add the bill of material finished good item first. So for example, I would select item 1400 and enter the quantity. Then I could manually add additional lines for the components. I'll need to fill in all of the required inventory dimensions before I can add additional lines. Then I can add lines by using the New button or the arrow down. You'll notice that the BOM line checkbox is automatically selected. Now I can select the components that will be a part of this. So I can select the individual speakers and update the quantity manually. It's important to note that when you do this, I am not following the bill of material. I'm just manually adjusting the quantities. If you're doing some research and development and making a customized product, this is a useful way to just manually create a BOM without creating a BOM in the bill of material form. I'm going to delete these lines. I'll need to delete them one at a time. And then instead, I'm going to use the BOM button and then select Report as Finished. This will open up the same Report as Finished screen that we saw earlier. Next, I'll select the same item number, 1400, enter the site and warehouse, update the quantity, and select the explosion mode. Then, over on the Inventory Dimension tab, I'll need to be sure to select the correct inventory configuration, and then click OK. This will pull the lines back into the journal. In this case, again, the Post Now checkbox was selected, so the journal has automatically been posted. Had I chosen to clear that checkbox, the lines would have been pulled back into the journal, and I would have to manually click the Post button. Be sure to join me in the module review, and we'll take a look at what we've learned.